Hey folks, welcome back to our little farm here in Nebraska. We've got an unusual little warm spell right now. We're going to be in the 40s today and even 50 tomorrow in the middle of January, which is uncommon. All of our snow that was on the ground is melting. Still loving this cool truck. So we're going to take advantage of this little heat wave because over the weekend, here in a couple days, it's going to be well below zero wind chill, like 20 to 30 degrees kind of. So we're going to try to get some stuff done today. I've got to get the gas drained out of Cubby and get it covered back up, but we're not in here for that. We are in here for this. We have our grapes still that we had stored in the freezer that we need to squeeze and make grape juice, so we got to bust out the press. Okay, we got everything cleaned up. We got to go get our bag and our grapes and something to press this into. Okay, we went in and got our grapes in our press bag. Let's get that thing filled. Got it fairly well pressed out, so what I'm going to do is we'll raise our follower back out of there. We're going to flip our bag over, kind of mix things up a little bit, and then do a repress to get a little bit more out of those grapes. Okay, I think that's all we're going to get. We got about a gallon of juice out of those. So let's get this all cleaned up and get it back inside the house. Got our grape juice in the house. So we're going to put it in pint jars. We've got sterilized pint jars. And we don't need to strain this because we used a fine mesh strainer bag when we press that. So we can go right into the jars. And then we'll get out all of our stuff for water bath. Got about 6 3/4 pints. We're just going to put this one here in the fridge. So we'll wipe the tops of these jars, put lids and rings on them. So we pulled out our Presto canner, which it's a digital canner, does everything on its own, including water bath. So we'll get all our grape juice put into the pot, and we'll get it going. Okay, we filled our canner up to 1 inch above our jars. So now we're going to get our lid put on. I already checked the seal on it. Now they recommend that you pull this regulator completely off, and then I'm going to go ahead and lock this down because we're just doing a water bath. So we want to rotate the knob until it says water bath canning, which we did. And then we just push it. And then we want to go for 10 minutes on this water bath. It says insert jars. We've already done that. Now it's going to go into warming cycle. Now normally this is going to warm your jars up. You got to pull your jars out and then fill them and put them back in. But since we're cold packing this, we can skip that step. Everything is going to come up to temperature in there together. So once the warm cycle's over, it'll beep and then it will say fill jars. But again, we've already done that, and we'll just get her going from there. Now the reason we're able to water bath this grape juice is it's a high acid food. If it was a low acid food, we'd have to pressure can it, but 10 minutes we will be good. Now some folks might ask, why don't you just put it in the fridge? Well, that would be okay for short-term storage, but within a few days, if this stuff, the bacteria, I don't want to say bacteria, but the yeast in the grape juice would start to ferment, and you'd end up with fermented grape juice, or really wine, basically. Okay, the canner is beeped. It says fill jars. We've already done that, so we're just going to press it. So now it's going to heat. And once it gets up to temperature, the timer will start counting down. And then it will go into canning mode, cool mode, all that. Now some folks, when canning grape juice, will add sugar to sweeten the juice. This being Concord grapes, I don't want to add any sugar, and I don't need to, especially being a former diabetic. So we just go with the juice as is. It's plenty sweet enough. But if you wanted sweetened grape juice, you would add about a 1/4 cup of sugar per pint jar, or a 1/2 cup for a quart. We do it in pint jars because that's about all we can really drink in one setting, the two of us. Okay, it took about 30 minutes for this thing to heat up. So it's automatically in canning mode now, and this timer will start to count down the minutes. So while that's doing that, we've got other stuff to do outside. While we have water in the garden hose before we drain it, I want to get this 2-row planter here that we picked up from my buddy Matt. It had some dirt in the seed cans in here. We need to get that out of there because we don't want that to rust the bottom of the seed cans. So we're going to get all that dirt rinsed out, and then I'll probably put it in the barn so it's out of the weather. Also want to get my forage and get it into the shop out of the weather. Everything's working. Got the planter all cleaned out, so now it'll dry out and not rust anymore or rot out. That's the worst part of these cans. These old cans get rotten, but there's still paint on the inside of these, so they're good. Got a whole set of all different seed plates. These have different size notches for different kind of seeds that you plant. They just snap right into the bottom of those cans. Meanwhile, the tractor went into regen mode, which is the absolute dumbest thing ever. These Green New Deal people come up with this regen system that it's got like a carbon canister on the tractor, and it accumulates carbon. But every now and then, and it's pretty often in my opinion, you have to throttle up the tractor so it can burn all that carbon off and smoke, and it still goes out into the atmosphere. So that makes a lot of sense. You're just sitting there burning my diesel. I can't turn it off now, because if I do, it'll want to do regen mode again when I restart. So you just got to let it run. But while we're waiting for this stupidity to be done, let's go check our grape juice. All right, our canner's done. So it never built pressure, so we can open this thing up. Cans of grape juice out of there. I like to tilt them a little bit and get the water off of the lid. Looks good. Okay, we got our 6 pints of grape juice. They're already starting to pop, which means the lid snaps down on. We've got a couple more things to do outside. The next thing I want to do, I want to get this big old behemoth bumper off the red truck. We're calling it Big Red. And it looks like all we have is 4 bolts right here where the old bumper attaches, the original bumper. So I'm just going to burn those bolts off with a torch, and then this big crazy thing should come off. Oh, Big Red looks much better without that behemoth on the front. I want to open the hood. We haven't even looked under the hood yet since we got this thing. I didn't realize the hood comes all the way off. There's no hinges on it. Whole hood comes off. Motor looks pretty clean. Carburetor looks decent. I don't think it'd take much to get this thing running. Next thing I want to do, they had an old wooden tailgate that was bolted to this thing that was all rotten. I want to burn these old bolts off of here. They bolted some angle iron here so you could slide the wooden tailgate on here instead of the old metal one. I'm going to try to find the original metal one. Okay, we got the back end all cleaned up. Next thing is see if we can get the torch back in the shop without falling on our butt. Well, tractor's still running, so might as well do something with the tractor so we're just wasting all that diesel. We're gonna go turn the compost pile out there I went ahead and mixed our stump grindings together with our grass compost. Just have not got enough moisture. All that grass is still green. We're supposed to be in the 50s tomorrow, so I'm thinking I might come out here with a sprinkler, put a sprinkler on top of this thing, give it some moisture. Desperately needs it. You can see the garden still looking good, ready to go in spring. Be a couple months, we'll be out here. All the deer have come out here and they've ate all of those apples, those dried up apples that were on the ground. They come in here at night and eat those. Guineas are out foraging today. It's warm enough. Meanwhile, been literally 45 minutes, still in regen mode. Great for the environment. What an absolute bunch of nonsense. I don't know what brain dead idiot come up with that. I got supper to think about. It's starting to get dark. Kelly will be home soon. Don't have time to sit there and waste all my diesel. I'll wait until I've got more tractor work to do and just run it while I'm working. All of our grape juice has sealed up nicely. Purty. So we'll get those labeled and get them down in the root cellar, and we'll enjoy those till we get some more grapes next year. Hope you enjoyed hanging out with us today. We sure enjoyed having you with us. Keep me from getting bored. Glad to have you guys along. So until next time, stay safe, stay healthy. We love you guys. Come back and see us here at the farm.
Builders has invested literally tens of dollars in the latest carbon capture technology.
What do I do now?
I don't know, just get rid of it.
Like open the bag?
No, because then it won't be captured.
Well, I could put it in the garbage.
Just get rid of it.